Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It actually happened. The New York Giants took Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart in the first round. We still have 6 more rounds. The New York Giants have already won the NFL draft. This feels almost like the Minnesota Vikings last year taking JJ McCarthy and Dallas Turner, but somehow even better because Abdul Carter is by far the best edge rusher in this class. We're talking all pro. We're talking like day one Pro Bowl star caliber talent, right? Blue chip prospect. You got him at the 3rd pick, and then they trade back into the 1st round, get Jackson Dart, and you have your quarterback of the future. And so I love this for Brian Daboll specifically because, Giants fans, know this, and it's why you hired him to be your head coach. Brian Daboll knows how to run an offense. And what Brian Daboll needs is he needs a quarterback. And when you look at Jackson Dart, it's honestly, to me, it reminded me of Daniel Jones, but in a much, much better way. He's like a way better Daniel Jones because he's mobile. And so I even just want to show you this one clip here of Jackson Dart moving. This is against LSU. Little on the move. It's just awesome. And unfortunately, I'll try and play as much as I can in this video, but Jackson Dart can use his legs in a multitude of different ways. And especially in the middle of the field between the hashes, he does a really good job at being accurate. And Jackson Dart last season, people are saying he's a product of Lane Kiffin. Oh, he's Matt Corral. That's just what Lane Kiffin does. That's just how Ole Miss runs their offense. 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 69.3% completion percent. And folks, he had 4,300 total passing yards, right? He averaged 329.2 per game. He played at Ole Miss. That's the SEC. So the way I see any SEC quarterback, and I know this is not like, this has flaws. This has flaws. Will Levis, for example, comes to my mind right away. Will Levis, you can't always draft a random SEC quarterback and just assume it's going to work out. So I get it. Russell Wilson, Daboll has already said is going to be the day one starter, which I think is the better move. And like I said, it reminds me of what Minnesota probably thought last year was going to go with Sam Darnold, right? So they pick up Sam Darnold. The Giants picked up Russell Wilson. They also picked up Jameis Winston for 2 seasons to mentor, this quarterback, Jackson Dart ended up being. And Sam Darnold leads Minnesota to a 14-win season and, gets paid a boatload of money from the Seattle Seahawks. And now they can go with JJ McCarthy. But the thought process was for Minnesota, JJ McCarthy, the 10th overall pick. I know Jackson Dart's a little bit later, but still 1st round guys. All right, let Darnold run for the first half of the season, and then we'll assess it from there. Maybe we'll let JJ go if, the playoffs don't look like they're happening, if the team's just not performing, if Darnold's not working out, we'll run. We'll do the rest of the season with JJ McCarthy. And I think the New York Giants are going to do something very similar to that, except they're probably not going to win 14 games with Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback, right? So this year you might actually, in fact, you probably will see Jackson Dart get some reps towards the end of the season at minimum. Also, keep in mind, Russ isn't getting any younger. He dealt with an injury around this time last season and missed the first 6 games, and they went with Justin Fields. So I know Jackson Dart will start at some point this upcoming season because Brian Daboll needs Jackson Dart to start. So I really love it for a team that averaged just 16.1 points per game, 189.9 passing yards per game. I've got their depth chart here, and we've made a ton of Giants videos on this channel the entire offseason. And as you guys know, I'm a little bit bigger on this squad than some other people are. The draft still has plenty of rounds, right? We have 6 more rounds. The New York Giants have plenty of draft picks. Keep a firm eye on another wide receiver. So if you look at this, Malik Neighbors, phenomenal rookie season. Darius Slayton's been re-signed. Wan'Dale Robinson, flashed some moments. He certainly flashed some moments in the slot there. But my one thing is, whenever Malik, and honestly, though, you have to give the benefit of the doubt. You have to take everything from the Giants offense with a grain of salt. You have to look into the context. So I don't even want to get on to Wan'Dale Robinson because I was going to say I wish he did a little bit more when Malik Neighbors was banged up. But what the hell is he supposed to do? He's probably getting double teamed out here. Jalen Hyatt just had a horrible sophomore campaign. I still think with his speed, I mean, he averaged like over 16 yards per catch in his rookie year 2 years ago. So, maybe with a more consistent quarterback, there's still something there. They pick up Zach Pascal from the Arizona Cardinals and Lil Jordan Humphrey from the Denver Broncos. And then last year's fourth round pick, Theo Johnson, and last year's fifth round pick, Tyrone Tracy, a great example of another big reason why, like the first thing I said in this video is the New York Giants, even though only one round has passed, are going to win the NFL draft because they just got the best defensive player in the draft. They just got the best edge rusher in Abdul Carter. They got one of the best quarterbacks. They got the second quarterback drafted, and your GM knows what he's doing for the rest of the roster. So even when you look at defense with the brand new addition of Abdul Carter, first off, this linebacker room, because Abdul, keep in mind, last season was the first year he played edge rusher. He was formerly a linebacker, switched to edge for one season, led the nation with like 24 and a half tackles for loss. You look at this defensive line, you got guys like Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. It's pretty terrifying. And even a little bit deeper, some nice moves in guys like Chauncey Golston from the Dallas Cowgirls and Roy Robertson Harris from the Seattle Seahawks, and also Jacksonville. Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo coming over in free agency. Like, this Giants team's getting some traction here. They really are. And, defensively, they're 27th in rushing yards given up per game. So Abdul's going to help there. Dexter's going to, do his thing there. They're actually solid in the defensive back room. I did not fully piece that together. They were 8th in opponent passing yards per game. But when you look at, if you could see, I'm looking at just like the real thing. That's an app. Basically just gives all the team ranks. And New York, if you look at the offense, that's the issue. 31st in points per game, 28th in passing yards per game, 23rd in rushing yards per game, 29th in touchdowns, 30th in yards per play. They were 10th worst in turnovers per game at 1.5. All these issues just stemmed offensively for the Giants. Obviously, going 3-14, you don't have a good offense if you're going 3-14. They bring back Greg Van Roten, Andrew Thomas when he's healthy, superstar left tackle. So we'll wait and see what the Giants decide to do for the rest of this draft. Maybe I'll pull up a mocker for, I think it starts at like 7 o'clock tonight. But I'm curious how Giants fans are thinking. I threw out a tweet saying I was a little bit surprised that they didn't go Shedeur Sanders. And the reason behind that has nothing to do with how I think Shedeur's trajectory is going to go versus Jackson Dart's trajectory. The only reason I was a little bit surprised that New York did not go with Shedeur and they went with Jackson Dart is just because I think Shedeur's like the culture, the Sanders brand, the Shedeur brand, I just think it fits. Same thing with Travis Hunter. I just think that edge, kind of a little bit of an ego. I think that just fits New York and the culture and the brand a lot better. But Jackson Dart also has a bunch of swagger, and it's cool, man. I'm excited for the New York Giants, and I was excited even before this draft. And you got your quarterback of the future, and you got probably one of the best defensive. You have probably a guy who's going to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL in just a few seasons. So this is awesome. I am sure Giants fans are absolutely ecstatic. Let me know if you guys think they won the first round of free agency. Give me a grade down below, anything you guys want to say. But thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we will see you soon with another Giants video. Peace.